Morning, folks. Checking in with you here from East Texas. It's cold today. What is today? The 18th, 16th, 18th, something. 16th? Yeah, it's the 16th of December. It's only about 30 degrees outside today, and it's windy. It was cloud covered yesterday, and all that blew out today, and it brought in a chill with it. And all that has to do with what I'm going to tell you about here today. This is just kind of something that we threw together. If you look on YouTube or anywhere else on the interweb right now, you're going to find hundreds of videos explaining why this pistol, the Taurus G3C, is a fantastic pistol. Everybody likes it. Everybody talks about all the nice features that it has, how it's vastly superior to the G2C. The thing that I noticed most of those videos were lacking is a lot of them didn't really have any evaluations of actually shooting it. I mean, some of them did, but a lot of them were just people talking about how they liked the overall fit and finish and appearance and all that. Well, I wanted to kind of go a little bit beyond that for you today. I purchased this pistol. I bought it, my money. Nobody gave me anything and asked me to review it. It's just something that I purchased based on everything that I'd seen on it recently. It looked like it was probably a pretty good little pistol. I think the MSRP on this pistol is like 305 bucks. I paid $329 for this one, and with that it included this Viridian red dot sight, which is model specific and according to the paperwork is a retail value of 95 bucks. So you got the pistol and the sight for $329. Also included 3 magazines. Everybody tells you about that. I'm not going to go over any of the other details of the pistol. What I am going to go over is I drug my rear end out to the range this morning with my son. We stood out there in the wind, in the cold, with our fingers freezing off on us, and we put 150 rounds of various kinds of ammunition through this pistol, and that's what we're going to do today, is kind of show you what we discovered testing various types of ammunition through it. I don't have everything that we tested sitting here today, but for an example of what we tested, we had some Winchester white box 115 grain full metal jackets. I had some hand-loaded full metal jackets. I think they're 124 grain. I had some 115 grain Russian steel cased ammo. 2 different varieties of these 124 grain truncated cones. They're all hand cast by me. They're all powder coated. The difference is we tested them both bullets that had been sized to .356 and bullets that had not been sized. And we tested Spear Gold Dots 124 grain. And I don't have any of them sitting here. I wound up shooting up all the ones that I had handy. I shot some 147 grain Remington golden sabers through it also. We'll show you some of the footage from out at the range here in just a second, and then we'll come back afterwards and I'll fill you in on my thoughts concerning our day at the range. And something that I will go over here with you real quick concerning our operation at the range today. First, I'll show you, there's empty mag well, empty chamber, safe weapon. The gun comes in the box with the Viridian sight, but the sight's not installed. It's a very straightforward, simple installation, and after I got it mounted on the gun, using the supplied wrench, I just focused it on the wall about 15 feet away, and I lined up the red dot with the sight picture, and when we got to the range, it performed admirably. I didn't have to make any additional adjustments on it. I'm not accustomed to shooting with a red dot, so I had to change my grip a little bit and lower it down so I could look over my sights, which is something I don't normally do. But I did find the red dot to be very user friendly, and if I did my part, that was normally right where the bullets went. The only bullets that I noticed did not hit to the point of aim were the 115 grain steel cased Monarch from Academy, Russian stuff. It seemed like it was shooting 2 or 3 inches to the right at 7 yards. All the shooting we did today was at the 7-yard line. The activation button here for the red dot is right there in front of the trigger guard. I can easily press it with my index finger to turn it off and on, and it is ambidextrous. All right, the first magazine we're going to put through the G3C is the Winchester White Box 115 grain generic 9mm target ammo. Okay, so the first bullets that we fired, as you saw there in that last clip, were these 115 grain Winchester White Box. It ate them just fine. They seemed to group fairly well. I would imagine most of the 115 grain full metal jackets would probably function similarly, as most of them have a similar profile as far as feeding and that goes. I would have broken down and fired a few more rounds through it, but as we all know, coming across ammunition these days is kind of hard to do. But overall, the grouping was adequate. As you saw from the video, a little bit of shaking going on. It was cold out there. My fingers were hurting from loading the magazines, and the thing that I noticed right away was I was having trouble feeling for the trigger on the first couple of shots, and then after that, they'd kind of settle down. So now we're going to go with some 125 grain truncated cones. They're powder coated, and these have been sized to 3.56. You'll notice here how the wind is blowing the gunpowder smoke back into the cameraman's face. So now third through the Taurus, I'm going to shoot some hand-loaded full metal jackets. I believe they're 115 grain. They might be 124s, I don't remember. And I didn't write it down. So these are also the 124 grain powder coated truncated cones. These ones I did not run through a sizer. This is just an experiment. So real quick, something that I mentioned earlier, I'm going to cover it in detail now. These 124 grain truncated cones, I test fired 2 different varieties of them through this pistol. I had pre-sized some of the bullets after they were powder coated to .356. Some of the others I did not run through the sizer, so theoretically they were probably a little bit larger than that. There were no issues with either one of them. A lot of the reviews that I've seen online say that the Taurus G3C has a tight chamber. I did not notice any issues with anything feeding through it today. All right, so next, because of the beer situation, I only brought 7 of them. These are Spear Gold Dots, 124 grain. Okay, so from what I saw out at the range today, the 124 grain Spear Gold Dots, they performed phenomenally. If it hadn't been so cold and I hadn't been shaking so bad, I think it would have been a one-hole group. I have the utmost of confidence that I could keep all 12 rounds from the magazine in a bullseye if I did my part at 7 or even 10 yards. And I was thoroughly impressed with the Spear Gold Dot in the Taurus G3C. Okay, and this last test is going to be Remington Golden Saber. They're 147 grain hollow points. Man, my fingers are so cold, I'm having trouble loading. And again, I didn't quite have 10 of these that I wanted to spare, so it's only going to be a 9-shot group. I do know that it liked the spear gold dots extremely well. That was almost a one-hole group. Okay, and our last test is going to be 115 grain full metal jacket, steel cased Russian 9mm, the thing that nothing wants to eat. And we're going to see, so far, it's eaten everything we've fed it with no issues. So hopefully this will work too. All right, and what we have here, rarely seen outside of the confines of his lair, is a slightly frozen 14-year-old adolescent male. All right, so without wasting any more of your time, if you've watched to this point, thanks, appreciate it. Like if you want to, subscribe if you want to. I don't make anything off of this. I do it for the benefit of anybody that wants to watch, or maybe just for myself. I don't know. But covering everything that we talked about today, tried several different types of ammunition through this brand new pistol. It's had 150 rounds through it. It chambered 150 rounds. It fired 150 rounds. At this point, there were no issues, no failures in that first 150 rounds. Taurus says the break-in period for this pistol is about 300 rounds. I didn't want to put 300 rounds through it today. Maybe I should have, I don't know. But I do know that first impressions, it's fairly comfortable, it's fairly ergonomic, and most importantly, it so far has been 100% reliable. Thanks for watching.